I know we're all trying to bring a bit more whimsy into our lives these days, and I have always found a big, billowy puff sleeve top to be at the height of whimsical. I will be creating one from just a photo I found, and here's my process. The photo in question, and from there I determine what pieces I need to make the garment. For this top, I need only 3 pieces cut twice. I enjoy draping my patterns more than pattern block adjustment. I find it easier to visualize the final outcome and see what I'm actually adjusting. Basically, I have the curves on the front part where the button placket, I assume is how I'm going to be finishing this, will be, and I have the neckline that I captured on the mannequin, and then it just sort of goes into this straight line rectangle. I kind of guesstimated how much it should be off to the side, so we'll see about that. That might be wrong, but we'll find out when I make a mock-up. Guys, I'm torn. I set out, to make a white billowy cotton shirt, and I have plenty of white fabric, but oh my gosh, I just thought about what if it was in blue? What if it was blue? Ooh. I do really want to make a top out of the rest of this fabric. I made a long dress out of it, and this is the fabric I ran to Joann's to see what was left in its last final hours. And I got this. I got a whole bunch of this. So, I also want to make a billowy top out of this, but a different style than what I'm doing today, and this one as well. Okay. After cutting out my yoke pieces, I'm just assembling them at the shoulder seams. Then I wear my little cape yoke to get a sense for the lower part that gathers into it. I will not be creating a pattern piece for this. Instead, I will determine how much fabric is used for the bottom and the sleeves based on the scraps that I have left to work with. Here I am making some French seams, which involves sewing the wrong sides together, trimming the seam allowance down, pressing the seam allowance open, and then pressing the seam allowance closed with right sides together and sewing again. I have decided to go with French seams for this garment because the fabric is very flimsy and frays really easily. It frays so easily, in fact, that little threads were still poking through the right side of the fabric even though I trimmed my seams down. Like I mentioned earlier, I am working with scraps, so I'm just tearing my fabric to get large rectangles of the same size to be gathered down. I thought the easiest way to do this would be directly on the mannequin. It's still wrong sides together since I will be doing French seams here as well. Here's the little space for the armhole. Ideally, the bottom would also curve outward from the body to make the armhole a bit more comfortable, but my fabric really didn't allow for it, so I had to do what I could. For the sleeves, I'm taking what large pieces remain and creating 4 equally sized rectangles, all the length I have determined to be my sleeve length. Remember, it's a drop shoulder top, so the measurements don't come from the top of the shoulder, but just over the side. Also, to get that puppy sleeve look, you need the sleeve to be slightly longer than you ordinarily would, so that it can be pushed back up and create that bowl shape. Once I sewed 2 rectangles together along the length, I decided I did not want the bulk of a French seam inside of my sleeve, so I'm doing a flat felled seam instead. Here I am trimming only one side of the seam allowance this time, and this just happened to be a selvage piece, so I didn't bother folding the seam back under. Attaching a sleeve to a drop shoulder is a lot easier because everything is just rectangles and there are no sleeve caps. I'm just gathering down the sleeve tube into the armhole I showed earlier. I often use this tiny ironing board because I'm too lazy to move everything and get the tabletop iron out, but it is actually very nice to have for sleeves as well, imagine that. Despite the design, this top is not striving for any historical accuracy, therefore I will be creating a channel for an elastic band to cinch the sleeves. You could, however, make a cuff and button if desired. So yeah, I got a new table. I wouldn't ordinarily mention that, but seeing as it is mid-video, I should probably say something. It is vintage, but it's in really good condition, and look, it came with pads even. I do still have my old table, which I love, and I will be using it for a different purpose. Okay, thank you, and back to the regular program. My buttonhole foot and the buttonhole function of my machine is not working. I'm not really sure why. I've practiced on some like extra fabric of my shirt, folded over to give it more thickness. I did even some practices on just a regular piece of some stiff cotton twill, and you can see it is really weird looking. It simply won't work on this one. Like, I just keep getting these little balls of thread. It just simply won't work on the fabric, and then also on my regular, like more, heavyweight fabric, it's not working. I'm gonna have to think of a different way.
I decided this would be the time to finally learn hand-sewn buttonholes. I tried using this blue embroidery thread, and honestly this was so difficult. Sometimes I can really wing new techniques on my final garment, but this was not one of those times.
Alright, so I have a few problems with this. I don't know why it's so wide. I think this fabric is just so flimsy, flopsy. It just like pulled really wide, which is fine, but I think what bothers me more is just that this blue doesn't really match. So I'm tempted to redo it with like an intentionally different color, maybe a dark blue or a white or something, just so that it's like, it looks more like I did it on purpose. And then also I used the 6-string embroidery thread. I didn't break up the thread at all, so I think I'm gonna also pare it down to 3 and have more of the twists around so that it looks a bit less huge and bulky.
All that sounds well and good, but it was still looking awful. I even tried again using the regular sewing machine thread, but that was the worst of all. I didn't even show you what that looked like. Then I tried doing a bound buttonhole, which I did not film because it was such a fail. But wait, are things starting to turn around?
Okay, I might have figured something out. I decided to give my buttonhole presser foot another try and maybe see if something like much sturdier underneath would be better. I have this ribbon, and it's just like a grosgrain acetate ribbon, and it's a really great match with the fabric. I mean, it's not exact, but it looks like it goes much better than anything else I've found. So I just decided to try some buttonholes on it in the spacing, and it worked. It worked a bit better. I mean, it's not perfect still, but it's definitely passable. If I can get them in the spacing correctly, my plan was to just sew it down along the front, and then the holes can just sort of exist on the back because I'm kind of at my wit's end here and I don't really know what else to do. And maybe I'll just put some fray check on the main fabric. Okay, well, they're a little off center from each other, but
it was very important that the ribbon stayed in the right place, so I am basting it down, which will minimize any movement during sewing. I sewed up and down both sides of the ribbon just along the edge. I actually love the ribbon detail. I think it just adds to the whimsy, and I even sewed more along the shoulder seams to make it feel a bit more intentional. If I have one wish, it would be that the shirt were a bit longer. But given that this was using predetermined pieces of fabric, I would say I did the best that I could. I definitely feel that balloon sleeves give the wearer some sort of power not found in ordinary shirts. I hope you liked this video. If you did, I would love it if you gave it a like and subscribe to see more in the future. Thanks so much.